Good afternoon, everybody. Law enforcement officers say they are tired of hearing criminals use the term rats to describe citizens who help detectives solve cases. These tipsters are an important part of fighting crime. Tips alone have helped to recover more than $4 million in drugs and stolen property. Take a look. So the folks at Crime Stoppers of Pinellas have come up with a new way to celebrate the fact that they think these tipsters are superheroes. These are the new banners and the billboards showcasing tipsters as superheroes, borrowing from Superman's wardrobe, of course. And joining us in the studio with more, we have the director, John Schmalzbauer, who many of us just call Schmalzy, and the program administrator, Deborah Martino. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
So how do you combat this idea that the bad guys are using out there to really intimidate folks not to speak, calling them rats?
That's exactly it. It's a label that's used by folks that are committing crime in order to intimidate them and keep them quiet. So by giving them this outlet to have a place where they can anonymously get in touch with law enforcement, we're able to help these folks be the heroes that we know that they are.
John, you have been in law enforcement before you retired for more than 20 years?
Yes, I spent 22 years full-time and 2 years part-time with the Clearwater Police Department. And I can tell you that everyone that helped us do our job at any given time is a hero. There is no such thing as a rat. Everything that a criminal does costs legitimate taxpayers and citizens money. And anything that can be done at any time to help combat this makes you a hero.
And do folks really, is your experience that they really do feel the pressure when they're called rats and things like that?
I think in the younger generation, there is a certain amount of peer pressure not to do the right thing, although I think if you search deep down in your soul, everyone should be taught or is taught from their earliest years on up that do the right thing.
One of the things that you all talked about was in creating the campaign, you borrowed from the superhero identity that once they are in their superhero attire, you know who they are, but once they're an everyday citizen, that they stay anonymous. And you said that that's really the case with a tipster as well, and you have 4 ways that tipsters can call in their information. Can you go through those 4 for us?
Absolutely. Tipsters can submit tips to Crime Stoppers of Pinellas by calling our anonymous tip line.
The 1-800 number, 1-800-873-TIPS.
They can go to our website that you see on the screen and submit a web tip. They can also do a text tip.
Right.
That you'll probably see the information as well.
And how does that work? They text to that number, the crimes, 274-637, and then they key in the word?
Tip 144, and then they just go ahead and key in the message that they want to share with us, and we can communicate back and forth with them.
It won't have their name or anything like that?
There's just a number that's assigned.
And what about if you're doing it on your iPhone or your apps?
On your iPhone or on your Droid phone, there is an app called Tip Submit Mobile, and that will allow you to get in touch with your local Crime Stoppers program to communicate directly with them about crime, fugitives, whatever activity you see in your community.
What do you say to the viewer at home who's still scared and just nervous about calling in a tip and having it traced back to them?
You won't need to worry about being identified. There is no way to identify you. You're simply doing yourself and your community a huge, huge service. You're helping those of us that are still working, and myself when I was working, do our job in a more efficient manner and put some of these bad folks where they belong.
Well, thank you for coming in and sharing your great campaign with us. We look forward to seeing it all over town. And if you would like to follow Positively Tampa Bay, remember we make it easy for you. You can just follow us on Facebook.